Welcome to the show, Everything Black, where we discuss things that should be talked about in the black community and not overlooked. And welcome to the Breeding Pro Network. We have other shows that we will be presenting you later. This is my first episode of Everything Black. And I would like to discuss today the story of the three politicians who called the other politicians' adopted black 2-year-old son a monkey. I want to just back up my views today, and my views today is to prove that the black and Mexican bond or coalition we have does not really exist, and how Mexicans hate us just as much as white people do. Now, I understand that, for one, I understand that the whole concept of racism was just invented a couple hundred years ago to divide and conquer, right? And I understand that we need to come together as people for the world to get better in general. But what I'm saying to you is that's all fine and dandy, but if only the black people are asked to forgive and change, then that's very problematic to us because they don't actually want us part of their society. They look at us as slaves and they like us to remain there. And I'm going to prove that today. I also want to point out that when you hear these people talk about the black community, like they focus in on screwing the black community. This whole 1 hour conversation, like the main conversation is basically to screw over the black community and how to get the black consummate out. Not once do they say about what they're going to do about the white community or how they're going to get them out. But they do discuss how the white community don't want them in these positions, but even though they're in these positions. So they understand that they were given this power to help oppress the black community, and with this power, they're doing just that, but also they have no problem with screwing over the black community. So they presented themselves as minority councilmen to help the minority community, but they don't have a problem screwing over the black people, bruh. And yes, they're Mexican. So we are literally attacked by every race. And I know this is going to sound racist, but just like the white people do us, like if we mention the racist thing that's going on, they label us as racist and tell us how we need to come together and get over that. So the Mexicans do the same thing. So when I bring up this, they're going to say, oh no, we're supposed to be coming together, you're just being racist. But if nobody talks about it, it won't go away. Same with the white community. If we don't talk about it, it don't go away. Also, they don't change. They just want us to change. So this is going to prove that. I also want to say for the activists that say that there's a black and brown coalition or movement, you guys are not doing a good job, because through YouTube you're able to figure out why there was a black and brown coalition. The fact that there's African pyramids in Mexico, how there's Afro-Latinos in Mexico that Mexico doesn't like to even acknowledge. So the California Mexicans don't acknowledge them either. So that's problematic. So I wanted to mention that. So, but for you activists, if you would put an effort to put out the history of where the Haiti immigrants or whatever the black people that helped save half of Mexico from the Europeans from taking it in, and how Mexico had black presidents, you know what I mean, and even the Black Panthers, how they had the Mexicans involved in that because they had their own thing and we were together. Like, you don't even bring this shit up. Only black people bring it up. So whatever organization that's supposedly that bringing black and brown together, it's probably on the same bullshit as these politicians and councilmen. I just want to say that. But there is real history there. Even more recent history with the Black Panthers. You know what I mean? So they don't mention none of that shit. So I thought I'd mention that. So this is Mike Bonnet. The guy with the blue hat. Look how creepy this motherfucker looks. Like, so nobody has a problem with this. This guy goes in here. This, I mean, looks like he could be like 60-something years old. Goes in, and his white lover goes and adopt a black son. What, to gain the trust of the media? Like, come on, bro. How many black celebrities that got adopted black kids from Africa wearing dresses and weird shit like that, and then certain families having a black son and boating trip and he ends up drowning and shit like that. It's always some type of weird shit, bro. So there's that, and then I'm gonna show you this too. So this is why Mike Bonin is a black politician, because look what defunding the police look like. So we know the powers that be put him in position to help divide and conquer, man. He's only able to get away with this because he's gay, so he's considered himself a minority, bro. Like, the games that these people play are sick, bro. So that's all I wanted to show you. So this first clip of this conversation I'm gonna play for you is, I just want you to hear them, how they feel about their white counterparts that pretty much helped them get these positions, how they really feel, how they really don't want them, and how they, and basically how they, you know what I mean? Basically how we feel about the white people, they feel it. But when we try to call all these Mexican police that when we call racism, they're like, no, you're just a racist, but they're lying, bro. They feel the same way. They're just too coward to admit that we got it worse than them. So let me just play you this clip.
That's why I don't have parties, because of you. No, I'm serious.
But you know what?
I'm like, we can't celebrate our own
No, you can't. You can't have a party. But you know what?
Because we'll become,
No, you can't have it. You can't have it. But you gotta have it at El Pueblo on Rivera Street. You have to have it at Roosevelt High School or Pacoima. That's what, because that's what they expect us to be at.
I can have it in Pacoima right there by the swap meet.
Yeah.
Just right out the swap meet.
You can't have it at the Walt Disney Concert Hall, which is a public building.
Or the major
You got a lot of
Aquí
shit
in
for
MacArthur
that.
Park,
The criticism for that, and I'm like, I was there. You had a ceremony,
At least she's a party.
and then you fed us trucks.
Taco food.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even. You didn't even have the little waiters doing this shit
No.
inside. I remember.
Well, Kamala raised, when she got Attorney General, Kamala raised.
This is another instance where they're just mentioning black people. Like, like they fucking, their whole meat, like this whole fucking politics and councilman is structured around black people and how to screw them over and what power they have that we trying to get. Like, dude.
A couple $100,000. No, tranquilo. I raised $50,000, and the $50,000 was to fucking feed them food, and I got the venue free, but I had to pay IATSE because I had to do all the sound stuff like that. Those were all the costs, and I got shit all over it because we as Latinos, whether you're in labor, whether you're in the political space, whatever space, we're not supposed to fulfill those positions, and it has to do with the white liberal world. Because I told folks again, all those crazies in Orange County who are pro-Trump, I said, forget about that. They don't do nothing to us. They're just crazy people. They're no threat to us. It's the white liberals. It's the LA Times.
Amen.
See what I mean? But you know what I mean? But you over there kissing their ass though, and stepping on the black people. Man, this shit crazy. So the next clip I'm gonna play to you is actually what the media is playing to people when he starts talking about Bonin and his black son, right? So they're gonna mention something about MLK parade, right? And how they basically had to be asked to be involved, and how they're just, it's all fake. There's no real love there. And this next clip is going to prove that.
The airport. You got the people mover, whatever that shit is called. You got the modernization projects coming
We're
down.
gonna go after another
Billions of dollars worth of contracts at the airport. We're negotiating with labor on all this shit. You wanna be a baller? Go after that. Cause that's where the fucking money's at.
Because that's the fourth
He
black
loved
member. That's the fourth black member. You know there's 4 blacks.
Your councilman going into the money.
He loved it. There's a what?
The 4 blacks.
4 blacks?
Yeah.
One.
Mike Money.
Oh.
Oh,
And
no, Mike Money won't fucking ever say people are Latinos. He'll never say fucking word about
That's Dead Man Walking, right, Gil?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Good. Fucking
Good.
don't just fucking
He talks so much shit about homelessness and he doesn't even fucking build any house.
Nada. The trackers, look at the trackers. You and I are always on the tracker. Even Lasso put on a tracker last week. You should see the fucking 15 fucking motels or motel rooms that fucking Bonham put up. Fuck you down. Anyway,
260 placements Friday night.
to his 15.
There's 15.
I have
Thousands of
165.
units of housing.
He's got to run in a recall now, right?
So what's gonna happen with Bonham is if it qualifies, this is why I need to ask the city attorney.
So what they about to talk about now is how these councilmen gets reelected. Not by voting, right? And they playing stupid. You know what I'm saying? Or I gotta ask the district attorney, well, how does that work? Well, how does he get a recall and he's back on the ballot in June? Come on, man. Stupid.
the recall qualifies, his recall is scheduled for March. Recall.
Not the election.
The election's in June. So si pierde, he's still on the ballot for June. So what does that mean? He runs twice, he gets recalled in March, and then he's still on the ballot for June. How does that work?
That's crazy.
That's great.
He'll lose both. He's not gonna rehab himself.
So basically, the corruption is cool when it involves you, but if the corruption doesn't involve you, oh, what is that? What's that about?
So getting back to Marquise, I told Danny, if you want to cut a deal, and if you want to make like fucking boss moves, I would go after the airport. He goes, fuck, I love that idea. I said, tell Marquise,
So
Go take it from his friend.
don't go.
don't go after, leave him alone. Go get the airport from his fucking little brother,
Mhm.
that little bitch Bonnet.
How
Yeah,
is it
what-
for black people?
I go, what is with the Bonnet? What's with Bonnet? And I said, Bonnet.
Basically, leave the black councilman alone, stop attacking him, and go after the white guy who thinks he's
He goes,
black.
why are they so close? No idea.
He's from Massachusetts.
This kid, the one here,
That's
that's
good.
good.
It's done.
He's black.
All these Latino
Lo
kids.
trae así during Black History Month, lo lleva al council.
This is what the
y lo
media
pone
play.
acá en el- Remember, lo trae, it's an accessory. When we do the MLK parade,
Just like when
They used to have those statues
What?
in
Los traes, right?
plantations.
wait,
didn't
just
they?
like when Nori
In the
brings
front.
her Goyard bag or the Louis Vuitton
They
bag.
know he's full of shit.
ese es su negrito.
I don't wanna talk about
it.
Lo trae, ¿verdad? You sit next to it, you don't know the side. For MLK, for the parade that Herb used to organize, and we need all the council who wanted to join Herb on the float, because he used to do a whole float to be nice. Bonnie would be like, hey, Nuri, are you going to the MLK? Well, Herb invited me, yeah, I'll go. Okay, I'm bringing whatever the kid's name is. I'm like, it's like the oddest thing. It's like black and brown on this float. And then there's this white guy with this little black kid who's misbehaved.
So that's why you would see Mexican councilmen and politicians at the MLK parade, because the black politicians trying to get them to come and say, oh, it's a black and brown thing. Even the black councilmen and politicians know that trying to help their people is impossible. But they're gonna come up here and tell you, oh, you need to vote. You need to vote if you want change.
Has no, they're not doing that, they're not doing, the kid is bouncing off the effing walls on the float, practically tipping it over. There's nothing you can do to control him. Parece changuito. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm over here trying to parent this kid. I'm like, you can't do that. I said no. And Mike is like, I'm like, you're not fucking teaching your kid anything. It's me and Karen Bass on the float trying to fucking check this little kid. Me, Karen Bass, y la esposa de Marquise, Carrie. And we're all looking at each other because we're the three women on the floor. Like, who's gonna fucking, this kid's gonna tip us over.
Yeah.
Because he's literally hanging on the rails.
Well, you can't let him off because the spectators will beat his ass.
Yeah.
The spectators at the
They
MLK
made
parade.
him like a little white kid, which I was like, This kid needs a beat down. Like, let me take him around the corner and then I'll bring him back.
Yeah.
¿Sí me entiendes? Ven para
Just a
acá.
pinch, something.
Yeah.
But yes, he's the fourth one.
So anyways, getting back to redistricting.
Yes.
That is, yeah, so.
There's a lot of scaling information in this hour-long clip. I'll leave a link in the description for people to check the whole thing out, which I recommend you do. But they're talking about here about how they're going to position the Mexicans to have the jobs to be able to control the whole fucking city, and really just screw over the black community. This next clip is going to prove to you that specific point. But you really need. There's a clip in here where they talk about Maxine Waters. And what's weird about that, they talk about it as if they know they're recording. It's like, if they talk all the shit about black people, they say, but I'm cool with her though. I'm cool with her, right? Almost like some people know that they're recording. And this is what these people are, backstabbers, bro. They're really looking out for themselves, bro. Like everybody in this conversational room, anybody could, either one of them could have been recording this shit, right?
The city, right? But the same discussion 50 years ago that we're having today,
Mm-hmm.
right?
So what are we gonna do about
Well,
redistricting? Is that what we wanna talk about?
Let me say this about this. So, unlike 25 years ago on, we do have a Mexican in charge of the.
They didn't play this part in the media, by the way.
We have a
They're not talking about
Mexican
this.
in charge of the council. We have more members on the council. We're in a different spot now than we were 25 years ago. The thing for us is to exercise our power. To
Exactly.
get together, we are, exercise our power. You're right, there's 3 seats. If you figure out the valley, the seats on this corridor, historic African American, which I could support 1, maybe 2, but those are Latino seats.
Mm-hmm.
You know, get Fernando Guerra in here. There's 57 out of 60 seats that African Americans are in are Latino seats. From the Comptons to the Gardinas to the.
Even Inglewood probably.
Oh, Inglewood, 100%. Right? In the city, and what's current at? 76%?
86.
86.
Fucking
Oh my
South Central.
God. You can't throw a rock and not hit a Mexican.
South Central.
86.
The 15th is also, right?
Yeah.
And the 8th and the 10th.
The 15th should be run by union members and Latinos.
Yep, young Chicano.
So you heard it right there. Since they got the union president and the whole California is down there ran by union jobs, they can do what they're told Mexicans, they can control the whole fucking thing. And you heard them say there, like, all these black council seats, they should be Mexican seats. And I'll support maybe 1 or 2 that like we're communally based. Nah, they're not, bro. So that proves it right there, bro. Be careful who you trust, because they don't trust you.